So we have everything quilted. We obviously have some overage here that we need to get off of the edge of the quilt. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our scissors and we're literally just going to trim right along this line. We need everything to be flush now. It's going to look like a quilt without binding. That's all it's going to be. Alrighty, y'all, when I mean the edge, I definitely mean right here. So I'm just going to come in with my scissors and slowly, this works great on a hardwood. And you'll see what I did here. I'm kind of keeping it a little bit straighter because this kind of indents in, but you can always auto-correct it back in. As long as it's mostly flush, that's what we want, but this is a good way to fix some mistakes if you're not 100% even on the end. Okay, so see how it makes it all nice, flush. You're going to come back in here with your binding. We're going to flip it over and stitch it, and that's the final touches to the quilt. Are you excited? I am. Okay, see all the nice, clean lines as we go around our quilt. Okay, we are here back at the cutting board station, and we are going to cut our 2 1/4 inch binding strips. You can start with 2 1/2. Some people even go down to 2. I personally did start with 2 1/2, but I'd be thinking, oh, the wider the fabric, the easier it is to put on the binding, but not always the case. And I found that over the years, I went back down to 2 1/4, and it's actually worked out much better. There's not as much give, not as much chance to kind of roll your binding, so to speak. Now, for the cutting process, what we're going to do is line up your fabric here. This is our binding fabric. Line it up horizontally and vertically on your cutting board. You want it to be on a perfect straight edge. We're going to line our ruler up to the 2 1/4 mark on each side, making sure it comes in and is perfectly straight. And then we're going to cut strips, 2 1/4, 2 1/4, 2 1/4. Now, as you can imagine, when I get done here, this is not going to be on an even number. So then what I do is I just count, okay, 1 inch to 3/4, that's 1 inch. Okay, this is another inch and then 1/4. So then I end up in the half. Then the next time I go, okay, there's 1 inch, 1 inch, and 1/4. And then the next time I get to end up right back on the 8 because each time it'll eventually correct every 4th strip or so. All right, so we're all lined up. Always double check, especially when you have a geographical print like this. It will start to mess with your eyes after a while. Solid, even pressure through and through. And we go, like I said, I'm going to count this, 1/4 and 1/2. Let's see, 1/4, 1, 2. Okay, lined up. Obviously been a long day, my math skills are like that. And then we're at 2 1/2 now, so we go 1, 2 1/4, so we're on the quarter line. Even pressure, straight fluid motion. And then now we're back to the 1/4 inch, so I'm just going to move over 2 inches. And you're going to keep doing this until you have the right number of strips for what the pattern calls for. In our pattern, you're going to probably need about 8 to 10 strips. I will verify that for you though. It'll be in the blog posting. And what you can do is you can use an app called Quilting Calculator by Robert Kaufman Fabrics. And I'll put a photo up here just a second. It shows you kind of the screenshots. You will put in the width and the height of your quilt, and it will tell you based on the type of binding, whether you want 2 inches, 2 1/4, 2 1/2, how much yardage you need, and how many strips to cut. It makes it really painless process.